Hello and welcome to What If Civilization Started Over Season 3. Now, before we do all this, someone else made this map. And this map is different from our normal map. As we have things like Zealandia over here. India and East Africa are merged together and split off from all the other continents. Doggerland exists pretty much. And it connects it to Sweden. The Atlantis is its own continent. And then finally we see California split off from the rest of the continent. Though I'm going to be for real. Kind of want to merge these two back together. I don't really care. I don't really think California deserves to be separate. Okay, I guess we gotta keep California together. Alright, let's begin with this real quick. So, we will have the first country start in Zealandia, as this country will be very important to the lore of the series, as Zealandia will be one country the entire time. The civilization will start over in this tip of Zealandia. Which also means that Europe will be discovered later. Which causes things. I mean, it's already different that these continents exist, so we might as well make it different. So yeah, the first country will start over in Zealandia. Now there will be a bunch of time skips because it will get boring if we But over time, Zealandia, the Zealandian country, will expand to pretty much encompass the whole entire thing. As it pretty much discovers all of southern Zealandia. And it takes that over. After over some time, Zealandia is fully discovered and it becomes its own country, with a bunch of cities on it too. But while this is happening, other places in the world have been discovered. Also, Antarctica is habitable in this universe. So yeah. Zealandians have made it to the eastern coast of Australia. And so they discover eastern Australia. They worked their way around all this. But this is where the blue team, my blue team in this universe, resides. This is the Australian country, pretty much. It won't be just this one, though. And over time, we see pockets of Australia get discovered. The entire coast of Australia eventually gets discovered. They go a bit into the outback, but then turn back instantly as they realize how hellish it is. But another country starts up in Western Australia. They wanted to separate as far away from the blue team as possible. And so this is what they do. And then another country starts up in this region down here. This is southwestern Australia. We will go past all that. As Zealandia will discover all these oceanic islands like Fiji, and up to where Papua New Guinea resides. They pretty much take over that island. But then it'll be a crazy meeting of the minds as Blue Australians will go up into Papua New Guinea and discover all of the New Guinea island. But there's also the Red Zealandians who meet up with the explorers from Blue Australia at the same time. These two are actually friendly with each other. And so they take a sip of a beer, not a beer, they have fun with each other, and they pretty much discover all this island. They will then partition the island between them. This is where a budding friendship begins. As these countries will be historical friends. So the Red Zealandians will take this half of the island, while the blue ones take the rest. And as I see Red and Blue Australia pretty much solidifying their control over this portion of Oceania. We see Orange Australians who are going to take advantage of this. But instead of colonizing it for their motherland, they're going to simply just start a new country. This will pretty much be the Indonesia of this timeline. Except without that half of Papua New Guinea. Or without that half of New Guinea. So yeah. They will take over these islands. Make it to Java. They take over Borneo. Unite all that. And over time, they grow to take over what is essentially Indonesia. Indonesia has been started, but it's not Indonesia. And some new explorers want to begin their own country, but they don't want to be exactly in Indonesia. They want to be somewhere else. So these explorers land in what is essentially the Indian continent. As this is where India would be modern day. And so they explore all this land. They have a lot of people, so they want to have enough for the entire population. And the entire population will pretty much have all this land. So with that being said, we have a pink team starting up in this continent. And it'll pretty much just be this whole continent being in one singular country. Just like with Zealandia. Unlike Zealandia though, this country doesn't have plot armor. It could split up at any point. But that being said, over time we'll see more of them go into the outback. And all these three meet each other and they decide to teamfully discover all the outback. It takes time, but it eventually happens. And then they negotiate on the Great Partition of Australia. Mostly following what their borders are. So Western Australia will follow its border. So that's all theirs. Blue Australia will get a little bit more past their border, but still pretty much relatively their border. They will get this. And then the remainder of all this will now be going to southwestern Australia. These are the borders. It could go differently for Australia eventually. But these two are allies. So that should be an interesting dynamic. But now that we have Australia dealt with, you see more explorers from all these countries relatively. These explorers will pretty much go their own separate ways. Zealandia goes down south. They would like to see if they could find something. They find Antarctica. The very green and luscious Antarctica. It's a big continent. It's so big that multiple countries can exist on it at once. But we see these explorers pretty much set a baseline of where their country would be. And they're going to create it. Welcome to Eastern Antarctica. And so yeah. So far we're doing great. Western Antarctica is going to take some time though. As it's going to be from this world all the way to this world. And the splitting point of this will still be there. But meanwhile, in Asia itself, we see two areas that are going to be discovered. These people in Western India want to start their own country, and they started in Oman. This is where the blue team. This is where civilization starts in this prose world. But this is where it starts. This is where a new country forms here, as civilization started in Zealandia, and it revolves around that. But nobody's venturing east because of the Pacific Ocean being big. They don't know what could be added. But over here in the west, pretty juicy stuff. And they do end up discovering a lot of the Middle East. As where civilization decided to start in this prose universe is discovered by the people in the Zealandia universe. And several new countries begin to form over here. What is Mesopotamia and Ediz's universe? It won't have the same color as Zealandia though, so we'll give it this color. So we have that. These two will develop separately from each other, for now. These two could unite at any point, which you could say would be copying the old empire, but it really isn't. But then we have one more country starting, and that is my version of Caspia. It will own Iran. It will originate in Iran, but over time, it will expand to pretty much Caspia. But then these lands are made, and it goes to Mesopotamia. So yeah, we're starting to see civilization grow. But we have one more thing. One more thing being discovered before we're gonna end this video. So we see Caspia pushing up over into the Caspian Sea, discovering all that. Not only that, they will discover all this juicy land over in the east and all this Central Asian land. Caspia will decide to neglect its Iran origin and go into Caspia, focusing their entire country on Caspia, on the Caspian Sea. They make the new capital of this country over in the Caspian Sea, like right here. And I will begin to put in capital layers soon, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, with that being said, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in a new video. Peace out.